ATCKers, it's Pastor Serena. It is Thursday afternoon, April the 16th, the Thursday after Easter. I apologize for taking so long to put this video together and to provide you some more details on our worship coming up in the next few weeks. But I did want to take some time and talk through a few things with you. I'll also send out an email that might contain some of this material as well. But just briefly, in terms of our services going forward, we will continue with the course that we have set with our weekly recorded live streamed services that are available for you later on YouTube and Facebook. One interesting development is that our denominational publishing house, Concordia Publishing House, has given us free access to the digital Lutheran Service Builder. What that means is that I'll be able to provide you a full bulletin for the service each week. It should be about 8 to 10 pages, which you can print up and use at home. That will have the hymns, that will have the order of service, that will have the readings, really everything that I've been sending you in separate independent files that will be available for you in a single file for you to print up. So we'll begin doing that this week. Please give me some feedback in terms of if it's too much to print or if it's too difficult to print. I'll also attach the other independent things that I've been sending you, including the readings for the week, a very brief skeleton version of the service that I've been sending you in our in terms of the bulletins. So I'll have some of those things available for you as well if you don't want to use all the ink in your printer. Now, a couple things that I am going to try a bit differently in the coming weeks during the Easter season. One is how I'm going to approach the sermons. What I would really like to do is take each Sunday during the season of Easter and talk about some different aspect of the church and how we are having to adjust and modify what we are doing in light of the current social distancing measures. Fortunately for us, the Easter season provides us a wonderful opportunity for that, as I'll talk about in the homily this Sunday. So many of the lessons during the season of Easter are focused on how the church is to live after Christ's resurrection and his eventual ascension. So it gives us a surprising amount of direction on how the church is to gather for worship, how the church is to celebrate the sacrament, how the pastors of the church are to carry out their tasks. It's a whole host of things related to that. So each week, look for me to tackle something a little different. In particular, this week, we will look at what it means for the church to gather for worship when we can't actually gather for worship. What that looks like, what measures we are taking to deal with that, and also what are some things that we won't do as a congregation as a consequence of that too. So each week, look for that. It'll be based every week upon the gospel lesson, but I hope to apply it very specifically and directly to how we are operating as a church when we can't do the things that we ordinarily would do because of the current restrictions. Now, another opportunity I wanted to mention to you, something I would like to do during the Easter season, is an online Easter study. Now, this one is a bit more challenging. I don't really have much of an interest in recording me simply talking for half an hour or an hour. Surprising though that may be, given how much we pastors like to talk, we actually don't like to talk to no one. So what I'm proposing is this. A possible Zoom Bible study. Many of you have been exposed to the Zoom technology for school and work and meetings over the past few weeks, but it is a resource that you can use from your cell phone or from your computer to enter an online digital conference, for lack of a better word. If you want to call in and use your phone, if you want to use a web camera on your computer or even on your phone that allows you to be seen, to possibly do that, participate that way. That way you can ask questions and interact with me if there's anything in particular you want to address or want to have me address. But then we would also stream that live to Facebook so that those who weren't able to participate can follow along later. At this stage, I'm still trying to figure out what would be the best way to go about this. We could do it really any day of the week, especially Tuesday through Thursday works best, really any time during the day. We could do it Wednesday evening. Really, I just want to know who would like to participate live. If you have an interest, please let me know, and we'll figure out a way to work on the technology and find a time and a day that works best. And then for those who can't participate at that particular time or on that particular day, you can always watch it later and have access to the full study. What I'd like to do as far as a topic is concerned is I would like to take a very close and detailed look at what Lutherans believe about Holy Communion. Now, last Lent we talked about the sixth chief article of the Creed. I'm sorry, of the Small Catechism, which is the sacrament of the altar. But we really only focused on what the Small Catechism has to say about it. What I would like to do is look at what the other Lutheran confessions have to say about it. And before someone says, well, that's not exactly a Bible study, you're exactly right. It's not. We have opportunities to talk through the biblical texts that describe Holy Communion. But this one is, I think, exceptionally important because it frames for us what we as Lutherans understand that the Scriptures say about the sacrament. What we are prohibited to do and what we are allowed to do, or rather what we are prohibited from doing and what we are allowed to do. So I want to spend some time talking about some of that. There are a whole host of questions. First of all, what is a sacrament in the first place? And then what makes the Lord's Supper a particular sacrament? What benefits does celebrating the Lord's Supper have for us? How is Christ present in his supper? Those sorts of things are fundamentally important, but also practical questions such as, well, who is to celebrate the sacrament? How are we to celebrate the sacrament? Who is to receive the sacrament? What are some cautions that we should bear in mind when we are celebrating the sacrament itself? The Lutheran confessions and the way in which we talk about Holy Communion provides us a wonderful set of parameters for understanding what is the most appropriate way that we as Lutherans can celebrate the sacrament. And the reason why I think this is exceptionally important right now is because we are in a very strange time when you and I cannot actually share the sacrament together. So in lieu of being able to celebrate the sacrament, let's spend some time talking about it, talking about why it's important, talking about how Lutherans have historically gone about celebrating the sacrament, about how we should most appropriately do it, and also how we should most not appropriately or most inappropriately do it. A terrible way of putting that. You know what I mean. So again, that's what I'd like to do over the course of Easter. I have those scheduled out. I would ideally like to begin next week if at all possible. So please get back to me if you're interested at all in participating in this study. Let me know, again, a day, time, that you can do it, and really we'll just try and figure out the biggest group we can get together to participate, and then we'll try and administer it from there, allowing everyone else to follow along with the recorded study later. Now, there are a number of church activities that we would ordinarily have in the coming weeks that we're probably not going to be able to have. We, of course, are going to have to cancel the prayer breakfast that was slated for Saturday, April the 25th. We also have meetings coming up, especially council and elders and our voters meeting, which was scheduled for April. I kind of leave it up to you in terms of how you as council, elders, and congregation would like to go about this. My suggestion, since we don't have a ton to deal with in our April voters meeting, again, correct me if I'm wrong, if we do, that we might just consider canceling that altogether. And consequently, we would also probably put off our elders and council meetings until May, unless there is something pressing we need to address. If we put that off until May, then we can go ahead and convene those meetings in May via Zoom as well. Hopefully by then we're getting a little more functional and comfortable with that technology. So ideally by May we could reconvene those meetings, and then hopefully any business that we missed in April we can bring back up at our summer voters meeting. Another element, my apologies. Last week, I really dropped the ball in terms of being in contact with you. It's my goal every day that I'm in the office to call at least 3 parishioners. It's really one of the few ways that I can keep up some sort of regular contact with you. Many of you have been terrific about texting me and emailing me, but it is nice just to have you on the phone for a few minutes, see how you're doing, check in on your family, and just really hear your voice. So I'm gonna try and pick that back up. I've done it a little bit this week, and I'll do my best to resume that more consistently going forward. I fear I can't make more than 3 calls a day without, quite frankly, feeling like a telemarketer. So I hope that at least gives us a chance to get caught up, and I'll work through the phone list, especially contacting people who I've not been able to speak with, or I've scarcely been able to speak with in recent weeks. Expect that shortly. And the last thing I would say, I will attach some more of these resources for you when I send out this video. But I really want you to take advantage of the time that we have now to make use of some of the resources we have available to us. With Holy Week, we had a consistent string of services, and that was wonderful. Thank you again for your participation, for your kind comments. It was very much a labor of love for Scott and I to provide something for you, and it was very well received, and I sincerely appreciate that. That encourages me to continue doing things like that as much as I can. But there are other things that you can do apart from those videos, things that you can do privately or with your family. I've sent some of them to you before. The daily prayers that have been provided for you by Concordia Publishing House. The Let Us Pray app that I sent out earlier that you can download to your phone, and you can follow along with daily prayers and readings every day. Now, there's some other things that Concordia Publishing House has sent out, hymns for every week that you can listen to, specifically associated with that Sunday and that year of that week of the church calendar, as well as children's bulletins that you can use at home with your kids. Another thing that I would like to offer to you as well, if you're interested, is a potential video series. Basically, there are a number of Lutheran pastors and professors who have put together wonderful things online that ordinarily in the busyness of our regular week we wouldn't have time to watch or to follow along. And I would much rather you be here with me than watching some other Lutheran pastor or theologian talk to you. That being said, since we do have a degree of time and flexibility right now that we may not have ordinarily, I want to provide some of these videos for you. I hope to send a link out to you shortly with one that I think is terrific from a colleague of mine on the Commission on Theology and Church Relations. He has a series of wonderful lectures, really starting with the role of creation and humanity in our faith. And so I want to get that out to you and give you an opportunity to follow along with those if you so desire. That's really all I have for you. I don't anticipate doing many of these videos. Again, I'm not terribly comfortable doing them, but I want to keep you updated via email and through the other services that we are putting together for you as to what's going on in the church and what we intend to do going forward. And to be quite frank with you, sometimes it's nice just to see a different face and hear a different voice, and so I will do these semi-frequently as there is need for them. Please don't hesitate to call me, text me, email me if anything comes up. And other than that, I just hope to make some regular contact with you via phone call in the coming weeks. Thank you.